doesn't suffocate. Hello. Did we enjoy our time with the CIA? Welcome to Dagesh. I apologize for the Spartan accommodations, but you have been a naughty little shit, haven't you? Gallivanting about with a golden path.
Hey, what is happening guys? Chris here, and in this video I'll be giving my full review on Far Cry 4. It's a first-person shooter, free-roaming action-adventure game, and it's the sequel to the very successful Far Cry 3. It's a multi-platform game, meaning it's available for the PS3, the Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One and of course PC. So let's hit right into this review and focus on the story first. You play as a character called Ajay Ghale, who was raised in America but born in Karat, a fictional country near the Himalayas. He has arrived back to Karat to deliver his deceased mother's final wish, to spread her ashes back on her homeland. But of course it's just not that easy, and along the way you'll meet the eccentric king of Karat, Pagan Min, who takes you prisoner as you arrive. But not long after you'll get rescued by Sabal, who is the commander of the Golden Path. And the Golden Path is a rebel movement that was created by Ajay's father. There's a civil war raging out between Pagan's army and the Golden Path rebels, and this conflict forms the basis of the way the game's story and missions are structured. Most of the missions and tasks you do in the game loosely revolve around this civil war. Along your journey you'll meet several characters that set you up with different quests and side missions. The overall story is good, but it's no work of art. Quite a lot of the plot is mainly there just to serve a purpose for all the action and exploration. It doesn't have a very memorable story, though there are a few cool missions that vary quite differently from each other, taking you places other than Karat like Shangri-La and the Himalayas. The characters are quite unique in their own ways. Some are comical, some are serious, and some, like Pagan Min, are a little bit of both. It would have been nice to include Pagan in more of the missions, as he is quite a strong character, similar to how Vass was in Far Cry 3. So what does the gameplay involve in Far Cry 4? If you've played the last game in the franchise, Far Cry 3, you'll probably already know, as it's very similar to that. It's a very fun, varied game, as was Far Cry 3, and Ubisoft has taken the whole if it ain't broke don't fix it approach with Far Cry 4, as it features a very familiar gameplay style that Far Cry 3 did. The game has a relatively large map, which is full of missions, side quests, collectibles and things to do, and you're always going to get sidetracked from the main campaign, as you discover new areas and new side missions by liberating guard posts and climbing towers to reveal more of the map. You can't walk for 3 minutes without being distracted by something in the world, whether it be a karma event, which often involves you helping out allies in various tasks such as fighting off a few of Pagan's troops, or fending off a wild animal, or searching for one of Karat's many collectibles. The gunplay in the game is fun, albeit not perfect, as it can be quite hard to aim accurately sometimes, and quite a lot of players will probably rely on the heavy auto-aim feature most of the time, though gunfights can be a lot of fun with the right weapons. Earlier on in the game, without the right upgrades, gun battles can be quite frustrating, and you can't exactly run out Rambo style and gun everyone down with confidence, not until you've upgraded Ajay's skills anyway. That said, this promotes the use of stealth and keeping quiet. Taking out your enemies one by one, it can feel quite achieving to take out an outpost with nothing but a bow and arrow and throwing knives without alerting anyone, and this allows for various gameplay styles and choices throughout the game. The side missions are also quite different from each other. Some let you hunt down very rare, unique wild animals, and others might require you to silently save hostages. There's even racing missions to travel across Karat in specific times. I think when it comes down to the gameplay, Far Cry 4 succeeds, and there's just so much to do in the world and so many different ways to do it. It doesn't stop there either. Similar to Far Cry 3, there's a whole crafting element to the game, which encourages you to explore and hunt down animals to create things and help you out, such as making ammo pouches. There's also a skill tree to fill in over time as you gain more experience. The landscapes of Karat are great. It's something that we don't see very much in modern games, and the graphics do it justice. Far Cry 4 runs on the Dunia Engine 2, the same as Far Cry 3 and Far Cry Blood Dragon. It also shares a lot of similarities with those games. The environments look polished, as the world feels alive. Now of course the game is going to look much better on the new consoles and PC, as opposed to the PlayStation 3 and the 360, so do bear that in mind. Considering the scale of the overall map, I was quite impressed by how well the draw distance held out, as you could look far into the distance at buildings and beautiful scenery. Occasionally I noticed a tiny, and I mean tiny bit of popping in the far distance if I was travelling at speed, but not enough to take me out of the experience or prove to be much of a problem. In fact, many of you probably won't even notice it. The lighting and shadows do a good job, perhaps not the best I've ever seen, but nice enough to deliver good visuals. The character and animal designs are well detailed, even up close, and the animations during cutscenes flow fairly smoothly. Though in the actual game they can sometimes look a little bit stiff, and the transitions between animations could be a little bit better, like when you run up and knife someone in the back. So the graphics of Far Cry 4 are pretty good considering how large the game is, and they work well with it. The environments are dense with foliage, rocky hills and wild animals, and combined, they all work great together. I was taken to a world which actually felt alive, and full of life and things to do. The game is well polished and has a very laid back kind of tone, which is so appreciated with a gaming industry full of modern military shooters and serious apocalyptic dystopias, or in other words, depressing looking end of the world games. The colours are bright and vibrant in Far Cry 4 throughout the environment, making it a nice place to wander around. You never really feel pressured to complete a specific task, and the game lets you do everything at your own pace. The way the menus are laid out are fairly straightforward, though the game does require a little bit of a learning curve to get to grips with everything it has to offer. But over time you'll be able to navigate through the menus and play the game fairly easily. Far Cry 4's competitive multiplayer mode is loosely connected with the single player's plot, though it puts Golden Path rebels armed with machine guns and military weapons against supernatural warriors with special powers, armed with bows and the ability to summon beasts and turn invisible. It's a bit of a different idea to your typical bog standard shooter game, though the game modes aren't anything remarkable and most just get you to do things like guarding areas and capturing bases. Over matches you gain coins, which can be spent on creating a better loadout and buying new weapons. There isn't a huge amount of depth to the competitive multiplayer side of the game, but it can be fun and it does feel quite different to normal online games. You definitely feel as though you have to hunt down your enemies instead of having one-on-one gunfights with them. This gives it a nice change in pace to other shooters. Far Cry 4's competitive multiplayer mode isn't the sole reason to buy the game, though I would definitely check it out. There's also co-op in Far Cry 4, allowing you to play the main game with a friend. You can't play the main story missions here, but all the side missions and other activities and the open world are all accessible, and you can free roam and have a load of fun, and go on some unexpected fun adventures. The game becomes a lot easier in co-op, so if you're having trouble taking out one of the game's higher difficulty forts, then you could always invite one of your buddies along to help out. There's no argument here, Far Cry 4 is massive. There's just so much to do in the world of Karat, whether it's collecting cursed masks, completing side missions, liberating outposts, hunting wild animals, the list goes on. As far as the campaign goes, it'll probably take about 15 to 20 hours to complete, but because of the constant sidetracking, it could take beyond 60 or so hours to do everything. And that's without even touching the competitive multiplayer aspects of the game, which could eat up a lot of your time if you get into it. And of course, if that isn't enough, you could also get the Far Cry 4 DLCs once they're released, or the Season Pass, which includes all the future DLC content. If you have a very busy schedule, Far Cry 4 will probably take you forever to complete, especially if you're a perfectionist who just has to complete every aspect of the game to the full. So, Far Cry 4 is a great game. It has all the fun aspects that Far Cry 3 had, and built upon that. It's a game that doesn't take itself too seriously and lets you embark on your own fun adventure. The storyline isn't all that compelling and is quite forgettable, but with the sheer scope of detail that the game puts out, making the open world feel fun to navigate, I didn't really mind too much, as the overall experience was a fun one with lots of variety, action and exploration. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up if you did, and make sure you subscribe to my channel to see all my other reviews, guides and upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
RJ, I know this is hard, but consider this tough love, prison love. After all, you have a suite with a spectacular view. Oh, and one final piece of advice. I wouldn't sleep too close to the edge. Whatever you say, dear.